always look naked. You can always see your shirt, and I always look naked.
You always consistently.
Oh, t-shirt.
Nice.
Welcome to Dummies In Bathrobes.
Part 3, 4?
It's just a dumb kiss.
She's just repainted and redecorated.
And pretty. And we're recording from my brand new bed. Here are the babies. Comma and chameleon. I got a brand new bed, and my room looks pretty.
It's really pretty.
Pretty awesome. And we have some beautiful natural lighting.
So, Dummies In Bathrobes 3. We are both huge fans of the current animated masterpiece that is My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic.
Friendship is magic.
Because friendship is in fact magic. If you are attending C2E2 this year, you can actually find us and some of our closest friends dressed as My Little Ponies. But
I'm clearly Rarity, and she's clearly Twilight Sparkle. Just look at us. Come on. Come on! We have no energy right now.
No, we have none.
Pick it up!
Okay.
It's an amazing show. And if you haven't seen it, most of it is on Netflix. All of it is on YouTube. It's easily accessible. They're 20 minutes an episode, just like a half-hour animated thing. If you have kids love it. I started talking to some of the 4-year-olds at my school, and one of them brought in Princess Celestia, and I was like, is that Princess Celestia? Let's chat, girls. We talked about it for a while. My favorite, again, is Rarity. She's the best. She wears false eyelashes.
I collected the original My Little Ponies when I was a little kid, and granted I was born at the end of that sort of era, right before they stopped making them in the very early 90s, but I have a large collection still left over from my childhood, and when I discovered that they were still sort of like floating around in thrift stores and yard sales when I was like 13, I started recollecting. So I started buying them on eBay for really cheap. You know, I told my friends in middle school and high school that if they found them in their basements, they could give them to me, and so I started to build this collection back up because I missed them, and they're lovely. They're lovely creatures. And it made me happy, and everybody has hobbies and stuff. Mine happens to be collecting My Little Ponies.
Not only collecting.
Oh, yeah. That does modifications called customizers, and they take old, beat-up, overmarked, you know, hair-cutted ponies from the 80s and repaint them, sculpt over them, as this one is.
This is my birthday present 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. 2 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, a while ago. I've had this for a while.
This is a steampunk pony I made for Stella.
My history, I maybe watched it a little as a kid. I don't really remember. I know I had the toys, but I wasn't ever really obsessed with it. It was just like one of those things in your childhood. I was way more of like a Nickelodeon kid.
So then they brought My Little Pony back in like 1987, and they were hideous, and nobody liked them, so they cut them out like after like 2 years. And then in 2003 they brought them back again, and then right after those started to sell kind of well, they redid the art direction because Lauren Faust jumped on board and was like, I want to pitch a cartoon show. I want to bring back My Little Pony as a cartoon. And she grabbed a whole bunch of people who were on the same teams as like Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls and like all of the really awesome stuff from that sort of nice little golden age of Cartoon Network jumped on board. And so she has some of the best animators and writers and voice actors from the original, which is awesome, on board for this new show. And then as soon as it hit TV, everyone was like, this is hilarious. And it doesn't take itself too seriously, which the old cartoon show kind of did, and the animation was not that good. It was a little. It was very. It
was 80s.
It was 80s. It was whimsical to the point of being kind of like acid trippy sometimes.
Yeah.
But the new show doesn't take itself too seriously. There's jokes for adults. There's jokes for kids. The morals are still good. Like the messages are still positive. But it never feels like they're ramming it down your throats, and it never feels like, oh, I'm watching a kids show. It just sort of is like, oh, that's sweet. Next episode. And it's, because they're short, like you said, you can put it on the background and just like have it on and enjoy the bright colors. 2 falls ago, there was like the 45th anniversary of Star Trek.
Yeah, and they had
there was a little convention in
Rosemont something. But me and hey, Mark Brower, who just texted you.
Yeah.
Ally's dad.
My dad and
and Sadie Hopkins.
And...
I think it was it. Me, you, Dad, and Sadie Hopkins.
No, yeah, you're right. Yep.
We went to the Star Trek convention just to hang out, and me and Sadie Hopkins at the time were in the Star Trek burlesque. So we were kind of like pimping that or whatever. Mm-hmm. And John Delancey was there.
Jonathan Frakes.
No, that's
John Delancey and Brent Spiner were there.
Right.
And so we're like losing our minds.
Big names. But Jonathan Frakes and gross, cat butts are the worst. You know they have like little like
don't talk
charms.
About it.
Sorry. So Jonathan Frakes and Brett Spiner had like a really big line. I noticed that John Delancey didn't have anybody in his line. And John Delancey, for you don't know, he played Q on Star Trek. That's why he was there. And he also is in a bunch of other stuff, and he does a lot of voice acting. And he's
a brilliant Shakespearean actor.
He's just wonderful.
He's brilliant.
He did a voiceover in the season finale.
Season 2 premiere.
Season 2
the two-parter. Elements of Harmony.
Of My Little Pony. And it was great. And he played a chaos demon type thing.
Called Discord.
Yeah, it was awesome. And there's nobody in his line, and I just wanted to talk to him.
We're all standing there, like, I did too. I was so scared. I was like,
it's like weird to go up to somebody who's like autograph table without like getting an autograph. Yeah. I think that's weird. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just get an autograph and I'll talk to him. But if he autographs this, he has to sign it. Friendship is magic. Because I thought, like, if I'm gonna get an autograph, I have to get a good story out of it. Like, I'm not just gonna be John Delancey to Stella or whatever.
So we got up to the table.
And I go, hi, this picture, I don't know, because they have pictures that you can pick, and it doesn't matter to me. And I so, can you please sign this, Friendship is Magic? And there was a little pause, and he goes, I know who you are. I did one voiceover for this show, I don't even remember doing it, and then it premieres, and then my inbox is full of all these emails. Can you explain to me?
Can you explain to me, he says, he puts the pen down and goes, can you explain to me why, like, adult men are watching a show meant for 7-year-old girls.
And so me and Aly and...
we, like, pushed up our glasses and we're like, well, you see,
here it goes.
Traditional gender roles don't actually play into the current cartoons because of... And now, what's hilarious about this is now he's a huge supporter of the Brony community. He's on Twitter. Really? He's retweeting all of their shit. He was in this this documentary that they did, that these fans did about the Brony community. He's in the documentary.
He's so cool.
He's totally supporting it now. It's so cool.
And then we talked about, like, Torchwood.
I talked about Shakespeare because I was like, oh my god.
And so here's the photo of John Delancey. There's light coming off of it, and it says in the corner, friendship is magic. So now I have this weird photo of John Delancey.
And so we spent like 30 minutes talking to John Delancey about stuff.
Yeah, her dad talked to him because we were the only ones.
He was so nice. He was so nice.
And we had met some people at the convention. They came to the Star Trek show later, and they were like, "Yeah, after you guys left, we talked to John Delancey about the show. He really wanted to come, but he already got a flight, and he was totally gonna come see you guys."
Well, and
so long story short, always talk to John Delancey because he's rad.
He's so rad
and kind of dreamy. Like, so dreamy. He's pretty dreamy,
but cute though.
Yeah, but cute though.
But
that's a whole other story.
It's awesome.
Okay, so
and it was funny too because these huge lines for Jonathan Frakes and Brent Spiner are like shooting us daggers while we're having a grand old time with John Delancey, and then Brent Spiner and Jonathan Frakes are looking over like, what are they doing down there?
Yeah,
so funny. The rant part.
The bronies.
The bronies. So as I said, I've been collecting since I was a kid, which not everybody has, and I get that. It was a big part of my childhood. It was a big part of my adolescence when I rediscovered it and started collecting again. And it's been a big part of my personal nerd culture. It's one of those things where I say, like at parties, I'll be like, yeah, I collect My Little Ponies. And people are like, that's really nerdy. And I'm like, I know. That's why I'm telling you that.
And then I'm the dick that comes behind and goes, she also molds and sculpts them. And she goes, oh,
but I don't do it anymore. That's why it's like not pertinent.
I know, but it's funny.
Obviously, if you know anything about 80s cartoons and 80s toys, gender roles are very specific from that time period. Boys watched Transformers, girls didn't. Girls watched My Little Pony and Gem, and boys didn't. And there are lines. There are very clear-cut lines. And
there's He-Man and She-Ra for a reason.
It's all trickled down through the 90s, through our generation, and into the 2000s, where stuff is a little bit less clear, which I appreciate a lot. because I watched all of the cartoons my brother watched. We all did secretly.
Yeah.
It just wasn't like a thing.
It wasn't marketed that way.
Right. So this community of calling themselves bronies, that is to say bros that like My Little Pony.
Or men who like My Little Pony.
Males that like My Little Pony. Because there are bronies that are young and there are bronies that are adult and everything in between. And so the community, it's also up for debate that there are some people in the community that only identify bronies as male, and that the female fans, adult or otherwise, are called Pegasisters.
Side note, if you ever call me a Pegasister, I will kill you.
Ditto. And I have nothing against like people who identify as Pegasisters. It's just not a term that I think applies to me because I've been here the whole time.
And me, I just like the show. I don't have a pony tattoo, and I don't talk about ponies all the time. I just like the show.
I mean, I'm not opposed to a pony tattoo.
Well, you would look good on a pony tattoo. I prefer an X-Men tattoo.
That's valid.
You could call me an X-Men.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, there aren't terms for male and female fans of other things that are nerdy. Like, you don't call me a doctorette because I like Doctor Who and I'm a girl.
Can we call each other doctorettes from now on?
That's terrible. I just came up with that. I regret it.
You're so clever.
Immensely.
I wonder if anybody watches these.
They do. I talked to a couple people. There's like 3 people that watch these. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Dave. Hey, Andy. Hi, Shane. That's 5.
We have a fan base.
We have a fan base.
Shout out.
So, anyway, my issue is... I love that it's become so mainstream, and I love that it's popular, and that there's lots of people involved, and that people are discovering something that I've loved for a really long time, even though it's in a new format.
You introduced it to me, and now we have another bond of our friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if our friendship exists without pop culture.
It might not.
We're not saying that we are against the brony culture.
I love that the bronies were like, no, I'm a dude, I watch the show, I'm gonna buy the toys, let's do this.
And
like,
also,
I love
just
that.
because, like, I feel like sometimes if you don't understand it, if you see, like, if you hear the word brony, you think, like, oh, like a pervert watching, like, a kid's show.
Which is what Mr. Delancey was concerned about, because he didn't understand the appeal. He'd never watched the show, he admitted to us then. So he didn't know what the appeal would be.
He forgot that he did the voice recording.
He was so tired when he did it. What's the point?
Don't call me a Pegasister. It's okay if you're an adult that watches cartoons.
Yes.
It's a brilliant reproduction or reimagining of a great old cartoon that a lot of people have.
With great themes
Childhood
and awesome voice acting.
Awesome voice acting.
Was there anything else?
No.
Was that even, like, concise at all?
No, it wasn't. We just recorded for 20 minutes.
We're just really tired.
What out? That's what we're talking about! Ponies, blah! I don't know how to close this. Friendship is magic. John Delancey.